Have you ever wondered how New York, now a bustling metropolis, began its journey? Our story starts with the original inhabitants of this land, the Native American tribes. In the land that would one day become the city that never sleeps, these tribes lived and thrived, their lives intertwined with the forests, rivers, and wildlife. They were the masters of the land, living in harmony with nature, unaware of the monumental changes that lay ahead. In the 17th century, a new chapter began. The Dutch, eager for new opportunities and driven by a spirit of exploration, arrived on these shores. They found a land rich in resources and potential, a place where they could establish a new home, and so they did. They built the colony of New Amsterdam, laying the foundations for a city that would one day reach for the skies. But the story didn't end there. The British, with their eyes set on expansion, took over the colony in 1664. They saw a place of strategic importance, a jewel to be added to their global empire. They renamed the city New York in honor of the Duke of York and Albany. The city was growing, changing, evolving. The city's transformation was not without conflict or struggle. There were tensions, battles, and disagreements. The land was reshaped, cultures clashed, and power shifted. But through it all, the spirit of the city endured. New York was finding its identity, taking its first steps towards becoming the metropolis we know today. Every street, every building, every corner of New York has a story to tell. Stories of hope, ambition, and resilience. Stories of people from different walks of life coming together to build something extraordinary. Stories that are still being written, day by day, in the heart of this incredible city. By the end of the 17th century, New York had been born, but it was a far cry from the city we know today. As New York entered the 18th century, it found itself at the heart of a revolution. The city was more than just a backdrop to the American Revolutionary War. It was a key player. Its strategic location and bustling harbour made it a prized possession for both the British and the American forces. The Battle of Long Island, one of the largest battles of the war, was a pivotal moment, fought right on New York's doorstep. The British forces emerged victorious, but the spirited resistance of the American troops set a tone for the rest of the war. New York was not just a battleground, it was also a beacon of hope. The city became the first capital of the United States, a symbol of the new nation's aspirations. It was here that the foundations of American democracy were laid, surrounded by the city's cobblestone streets and towering buildings. And in one of the most historic moments, on a cool day in April 1789, George Washington stood on the balcony of Federal Hall on Wall Street. He placed his hand on a Bible and took the oath to become the first president of the United States. Thousands of New Yorkers gathered to witness this momentous event, their faces filled with hope and pride. This was the city where the dreams of a nation took shape, where the ideals of freedom and democracy were nurtured and protected. Every brick in its buildings, every stone in its streets, bore witness to the revolutionary spirit that was New York. New York was not just a city, it was a symbol, a beacon, a promise of what America could be. It was a place where ordinary people did extraordinary things, where the impossible became possible. This was the city that stood at the heart of a revolution, a city that dared to dream. The revolutionary spirit of New York was evident early on, setting the stage for its future growth. The 19th century saw New York transform into a city of promise and prosperity. This was a pivotal era of growth, with the construction of key landmarks that would shape the city's identity. Let's start with the Erie Canal. This ambitious project, completed in the early part of the century, was more than just a waterway. It was a conduit for progress, connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes and opening up new trade opportunities. The canal's completion triggered economic growth, leading New York to become the nation's premier commercial city. As the city prospered, so too did its population. The mid-19th century saw an influx of immigrants, primarily from Europe. These new arrivals didn't just add to the city's numbers. They brought with them a rich tapestry of cultures, traditions, and cuisines. This melting pot of diversity became one of New York's defining features, and it continues to shape the city's character today. Even as the city grew and thrived, there was a recognition of the need for green spaces. Enter Central Park, an oasis amidst the city's concrete jungle. Designed in the late 1850s, it offered city dwellers a place to escape and rejuvenate. Today, it remains a vital part of New York's urban landscape, a testament to the city's commitment to balancing growth with livability. And then, there's the Brooklyn Bridge. When it was completed in the 1880s, it was hailed as a marvel of engineering. Connecting Manhattan and Brooklyn, it symbolized unity and progress. More than that, it reflected New York's burgeoning status as a global financial powerhouse. By the end of the 19th century, New York had begun to resemble the city we know today. The landmarks that were erected, the cultures that were embraced, and the financial prowess that was cultivated during this era of growth laid the foundation for the metropolis that New York would become. In many ways, the 19th century was when the city truly found its stride, setting the stage for the New York we know and love today. As we step into the 20th century, New York truly began to shine on the world stage. The dawn of the 20th century marked an era of massive transformation for New York. The cityscape began to reach for the sky with the construction of iconic skyscrapers like the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building. These towering structures, symbols of progress and ambition, were the manifestation of New York's dreams and aspirations. New York also played a pivotal role in the global theatre during the World War II. Serving as a hub for the Allied powers, it was a beacon of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. The city's bustling ports and shipyards were instrumental in the war effort, with countless ships embarking on crucial missions across the Atlantic. In the aftermath of the war, New York was chosen as the headquarters for the newly formed United Nations. This cemented the city's position as a global epicenter for diplomacy and international relations. The establishment of the United Nations headquarters signified New York's commitment to fostering peace and unity in a world recovering from the throes of war. As the city moved through the 1960s and 70s, it became a crucible for cultural revolutions. The streets of Greenwich Village and Harlem were alive with the sounds of jazz, the beats of rock and roll, and the voices of poets and activists. This was a time of social change and creative exploration, with New York at the heart of it all. The early 21st century brought new challenges, but New York, ever resilient, met adversity head-on. The city's strength and unity in the face of hardship served as a testament to its enduring spirit. Today, New York stands as a testament to its rich and diverse history, always pushing forward into the future. The city that once started as a small Dutch settlement has grown into a global metropolis, a symbol of hope, resilience, and relentless ambition. From its towering skyscrapers to its vibrant cultural scene, New York continues to captivate the world, embodying the spirit of the modern age. New York's history is a tale of transformation and resilience, wouldn't you agree? We've journeyed together through the centuries, witnessing the metamorphosis of a humble Dutch colony, New Amsterdam, into a burgeoning metropolis, New York. The city's early days were marked by diversity and enterprise, its inhabitants embodying the spirit of ambition that would come to define the Big Apple. We then ventured into the revolutionary times where New York played a pivotal role. The city's strategic position and economic influence made it a hotbed for political unrest and revolutionary fervor. New York became a beacon of the struggle for independence, its streets echoing with the cries for liberty and justice. As we entered the growth era, we saw New York evolve into a city of dreams, a symbol of opportunity. The 19th century brought about a period of rapid expansion, with the city's skyline reaching for the heavens and its population burgeoning. Immigrants from across the globe flocked to its shores, weaving their stories into the city's vibrant tapestry. Our journey then took us to modern times, where New York continued to redefine itself in the face of adversity. The 20th and 21st centuries marked periods of remarkable resilience. From the Great Depression to the World Trade Center attacks, New York stood tall, its spirit unbroken, its resolve unshaken. Throughout its history, New York has been a city that constantly reinvents itself. Its resilience is its legacy, its diversity, its strength. The city's past is a reflection of its people, ambitious, resilient, diverse, and always evolving. As we reflect on New York's past, it's clear that this is a city that never stops evolving, forever making history in its own unique way. The tale of New York is a testament to human resilience, to the power of diversity, and to the enduring allure of the city that never sleeps. And so the story continues, ever unfolding, just like the city itself.